This is Jasmine from B-Ghud, and today I have with me Mr. Abraham Vargas. He's a retired barrister and has also lived in the UK for around 45 years. And today we are here to discuss a couple of interesting points which would be useful for you for your speaking as well as writing in IELTS or in general for some idea generation.
Indeed, indeed.
Yes.
Lovely. Okay, namaskaram to you all, namaskaram.
Yes.
I believe the first topic that I have been asked to open out with is change is but natural.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, if you look at your own circumstances without making anything complicated at all, we don't need any complications. Okay? You'll find that what you knew as a child changed with the circumstances. As you grew older, or you left the cover of your parents, the security of your parents, you changed from liquid foods to solid foods, and then you developed and had your likings, and your parents grew older, you grew older, you then were sent to kindergarten, and then to other schools, and so on.
So we can
And those-
actually say that change is constant.
It is constant. It is
Yeah.
constant. Okay, but you must understand that sometimes change is constant in the manner that you will always have change.
It's
Whereas
always-
if you that's right. Whereas if you say that change is constant, it appears to give the impression that it is there permanently.
Okay.
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 So change is constantly moving. It is always moving according to the circumstances.
Got it.
All right.
Okay, so we're just discussing some statements which we feel are important and interesting, and so you can use them for your speaking as well as for your writing in your essays and in general wherever you feel useful. So the first statement that we discussed was change is but natural.
Natural. Okay.
Moving on, can we go on to the next statement?
Okay.
Yes, so to be
Proactive is to be wise. Well, you see, it's a very disputable idea.
So how would
Because
you define the term
proactive.
Proactive, yeah.
Well, you see, that is doing something in anticipation of what you already know. So, in other words, you're going to build a road. For the road, you need gullies. For the road, you need signs. For the road and highways, you need lights. For the road, you need tar, you need metal, you need engineers and workers. So, when you're thinking about the road, you proactively consider those issues that are likely to be required in the event that this matter progresses.
Basically being prepared for what could
For what is necessary, or what could happen, or what is likely to happen in anticipation of that.
okay.
Okay?
So,
So, for example, let's put it this way. We know that a road is dangerous, and this constantly happens in Kerala, as far as my knowledge is concerned. People overtaking at hills, buses stopping at corners. This is dangerous because the driver behind cannot see what is around the corner. His view is totally hidden. He may have gone sideways to overtake the bus, which is wrong, and another vehicle could come from the other side, not seeing him, and cause an accident. It could be a very serious accident. It could be life changing. Why haven't we proactively considered that bus stops should be at safe junctions and not at dangerous points? That is being proactive, but even then, it is something that ought to have been considered at the outset when you're planning it.
Okay.
Okay? But when you know that something has gone wrong, don't wait for something to happen before you decide to do something.
Okay.
Okay? You say, I suspect that the youngsters are driving their motorcycles very fast because there's a slight gradient, and they take two corners without realizing and without properly signaling or giving indications that they are coming around the corner. There are young children around, and so we must proactively do something to possibly avoid a collision or a danger of that
That's
sort.
being proactive.
That's being proactive.
On a lighter note,
Yes.
is there anything that you would like to, uh, looking back
Yes.
in your life to a younger self, is there
Yes.
anything that you would like to say?
I've changed.
Note to self, on the terms of being proactive, is there anything that you would like to tell a younger self, or to us youngsters who are listening to you?
What it is that I would have done, I would prefer to have done. Well,
in terms of being proactive.
in terms of being proactive, yes, okay. You see, I was born in Tanzania, so I had a British passport. I was educated in Lawrence School, Lovedale, which is one of the top schools in this country, one of the top 3. And I fell in love with the school after growing when I would reach the age of about 8, the class of about 8 or 9. And that love has never gone away from me. That love has also meant my deep love for India. I could not take the idea of going away from India, even though my parents told me, son, you are not the kind of person who can survive in India. And there was a lot of truth in it.
Okay.
So what was my choice? My choice was to go to East Africa, where I was born, but I didn't have an East African passport. And I had a British passport. And so I thought, well, I am going to try and accomplish one of my ambitions at least, because my first ambition was to be a pilot for the RAF. But since I wore glasses from a very young age, I couldn't go that direction. And besides that, with a foreign passport, I was not even allowed to join the NCC. So I thought, well, my next thing I always wanted to do as a profession was law. And in those days, lawyers were literally 2 a dozen. And so my parents discouraged me. And I went and did a degree in Madras Christian College of Literature, and thought I must make my way to becoming a barrister in London. Now, barrister's profession is a very, very, very rich man's profession. In other words, your parents must be extremely rich, because for the first 10 to 12 years at least, you're not likely to receive a living wage, because the government is paying for a lot of it, and they take their sweet time to actually release payments to you.
Okay.
All right? So, but after 2 years of going there, I hated the environment, the racism. See, I didn't feel direct racism. It was always contrived. And contrived is actually saying, in a slanted sort of way, listen, if you go to a pub, they say, listen, I don't like your friend, but I like you. And my friend is actually an Indian just like me. So what is he telling you actually? What is lying beneath it? It is an inference to your color. Okay? And so I ran away from England with the help of my friend, who was an engineer from Kerala. He was the only second person that I knew in the UK. And I went back to my father and I said, Dad, I'm not going back. And he was cool and said, Monet, you just relax for a while and think about it. Well, the short of it was, on the last day before I was supposed to go back, because our passports were subject to certain variations, he bundled me with a very good friend of his, into a Swiss Air flight going to London.
Okay.
He said, Monet, you better go there. You're not going to make a living over here. Not in East Africa, not in India. So I bundled off for there. Now that was something that I felt very sad about. I always wanted to come back. And several times, even through my education that I had to fund myself, my very close English friends, very, very close English friends, would ask me, Abe, I hope you're going to be, sticking around over here. Why don't you settle here? And my reply was always, no, I want to go back to my India.
Okay.
So that was something that I felt very sad about until, of course, I retired.
I feel like I've taken you back
Oh
India's
yes,
with one
yes.
question.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry I've taken so much of your time.
That's
But
okay.
it is something that I wanted to share from the bottom of my heart.
That
Okay.
is really much appreciated.
Thank you. Thank you very
And
much.
Mr. Coming back to
Yes.
the question that we were talking. So we just spoke about to be proactive is to be
Yes.
wise, and we discussed.
To anticipate, to actually focus your mind on the consequences of what all might happen, might be necessary.
Yeah.
Okay?
And-
And you act
Yes.
in anticipation
Yeah.
of that. So proactive is actually those dimensions that I have talked about. Okay? And there is the second part of the second limb of the question is to be wise. Yes. When you are proactive, you are displaying your wisdom by anticipating something that you know is likely to be needed in order to avoid catastrophe, a disaster, an anticipation, an expectation, and so on. Okay, so yes, being proactive is to be wise.
So thank you so much. Those really amazing insights about being proactive and a lot of things that you shared.
Thank you.
So we'll be back in our next series. So thank you so much for watching.